Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Today is Thursday, June 24th. We have lots of red folders at 7 o'clock, which are now behind us. That was with the British pound, and then nothing else. Looks like it's pretty clean sailing up through the rest of the day. So today looks pretty clean from here on. And let's check the heat map and see what we have for what's strong, what's weak. Right now we're looking at the dollar and the Japanese yen are strong, and the Aussie and British pound are weak, coupled with the New Zealand a little bit there. So the New Zealand, Aussie, and pound are weak today. And we'll look at the strength of the Japanese yen, the euro, and the US dollar. And let's go to some charts here and see what we can come up with. And let's see, let's make this one a little smaller here. See what we have on this. US Swiss, 1 minute. Let's take that one off right now. We don't want to get too many of these cluttered up here. Anybody have anything in particular they want to say? I'm just sitting down to the charts myself here. And let's see here. Euro yen, 5 minutes, see what we have with that. Looks like we have a bounce, an arrow. Here's our next zone down here. It's only 5 pips away. A little tight on that regard. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart and see what we have on here. And we have a range. That's about a 50 pip range. That's about as tight as we'd want to get it. Looks like it's pretty much trading inside this range right here the last couple of days. So this is going to be the one that we would be looking at with the euro yen. Yen is not one of my favorite pairs to trade, but it is the one that's showing strength today. And we're going to take it over to this area. This is where the area started. And see, right now we're in the middle of the range. Looking to see it comes down. If it comes down to this area, right, this green area will be in our lower 25% zone. So we could see maybe have a little bit of room on this chart here. That's 14. That's only 14 pips away. It's better, not great. And it does look like it's in a bit of an uptrend. Actually, it's going pretty much sideways right now. If anybody has something in particular they'd like to look at, let me know and we can pull it up. I have nothing specific on my platform here to be looking at. We're just looking for opportunities right now. Let's see.
It looks like the S&P made new highs overnight.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get out of that short position, and I see that it's going a little bit deeper. I'll probably take another short if it looks like it's making some new all-time highs. If it broke through that zone yesterday,
Yeah.
it maybe looks like it's heading on to making some new inroads. And we have to take another counter position to offset my sell position. The sell position is still in a good spot. It's in the middle of a range where we know it's been before, so we just have to be patient with it. Brian was saying yesterday that the SSI is still showing that it's still, there's more people wanting to sell it than to buy, which means it's going to go up. The SSI doesn't usually, in a longer term range, it doesn't usually lie. So it doesn't surprise me that it went up higher. So right now, this one on this euro yen, it's kind of in the middle of the zone. It's coming, it kind of broke through this. This is the range where it's really going sideways. It pops out, comes back into the range, pops back down, comes back in, pops down, comes back in. Right now, we have a little bit of a trend on the lower side. So I'm drawing this on a 15-minute chart, looking at the higher time frame price action. I'm going to take it from this pivot high to here, and if I can scrunch my chart up, maybe I can get it up to this point. This is where the full range of the zone is. Here is the anchor up here at the pivot high. That was last week's high. That was yesterday's high. I take it back.
And the overall push is up.
The overall push on this is up. It is it's pushing up, but going on sideways. But yeah, on the higher time frames, it's definitely going in an upward channel here. So here's my upper, here's my anchor, here's my hit, first retest of the high, and we have another lower range. Let's see where we're at here. Let's expand this out, and then we have a lower wedge coming in here from the bottom where it bounced off the 200 moving average. Here's the anchor, here's the first hit, here's the third hit right here. So this is the range we're looking at. You can see it's pretty much inside both all these orange line areas here. So we're just going to wait and see a little bit where this thing's going to bounce. It's not out of it did come out of this bottom zone, came back up, retested it, went up a little bit higher. So it's having some pretty strong pullbacks. This is being on a 15-minute chart. It's having some pretty good pullbacks every couple of hours. So we'll see if it's going to be doing a bounce off of this. So we're looking to go to the lower time frame and see if we can get something that may be of some significance to us. I like the fact it's bouncing off of here. And let's see, this was a strong pullback on this. So I'm going to draw my Fibonacci's. And to remove the old ones since I've got those marked off and draw the other direction. Go to so we have this bounce up here. This would be the new range. Came back down, see how far this is. And look and see if where it bounces into the next middle zone, which is right now, it's at the 50% retracement of this range right here. It's right in the 50% coming off the bounce. With that, I'm going to move this over. I'm looking, all our moving averages are still the main. We had a little cluster right up at the top here. We had the break coming down. Now it's coming back up to retest this cluster. There's really no trade here right now because it really hasn't decided whether it wants to break up to retest this upper trend line or not. If we do have some room here, I believe, for a trade. That's for our 15 pips. So right now, the opposite trend line is where the target would be, but we have to make sure we have enough momentum. And right now, the moving averages are all kind of blocking it. So right now, I'm not going to be anxious to take this trade because this thing's still trying to figure out its direction. It does look like it may happen. If it does break with the yen, was stronger, we also looking at this bottom trend line may possibly break, and this is actually the drop, the retracement pullback, and then looking to retest this green zone down here. So that's kind of the area that I would be looking at, especially with all the moving averages being in the direction that it is. I would be looking at the retest of as this being a move down, the pullback, and then retesting this trend line for a break lower. Right now, there's not enough room to the downside here. That's only 3 or 4 pips. So we're just kind of waiting for this one to develop a little bit, but we'll hang on to this and keep this in our watch list here and see what's going on with that. And so we have the euro yen and anything else over here on the charts. And for those of you who
Daniela said, maybe, I don't know if you know an answer to this. She tried to trade something on the German 30 today or yesterday rather. And she said that it won't let her take any trades no matter what the lot size is, even though it's the same balance that she was using yesterday and everything. Do you know why that happens sometimes? Is it because there's no opposite like seller?
is she trading the German 30, the GER 30, or the DE 30?
She's just saying the German, the GER.
The GER 30?
But she's traded it before. She traded it yesterday with the same balance and the same lot size, but it's not letting her do it today.
What's her broker?
Should that matter if she was able to trade it yesterday?
Well, it shouldn't matter, but if I'm kind of curious because I was having problems with the German 30 the other day, but I was finding out that I was trading two different animals. The GER 30 was an index, the DAX index. The DE 30 is a cash index, and the cash index would not allow me to trade during certain hours until the market opened.
Okay,
so
this
I'm
is
not sure.
German 30. The GER 30, her broker is Vantage FX, and she says this has never happened before.
Yeah, I would send them a help ticket. Have her check the symbols list and make sure your symbol's popping up on there with the indexes. Because because I had a little problem with that where the indexes somehow dropped off my platform. I had to get them to reload the indexes on my platform. It worked on the demo, it didn't work on the live.
Okay.
So just make sure to contact the broker and just make sure that your indexes are still active on your account. That's where the problem was with me. I have no explanation as to why it dropped off. It just did. I just noticed that happened to me on Monday. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. So contact the broker. If your symbols list, if your indexes don't come up on the symbols, then I would be in touch with the broker.
And also Christopher was saying that on MyFX books, there is red folder US news in 50 minutes.
Okay. US news in 50 minutes, red folder news.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why those don't show up on the Forex Factory.
I don't know. They have different things maybe that they consider to be red folder. I don't know.
Well, let's just take a look at this German 30 while we're in this topic of discussion here. Let's see what the range is on this. Let's see I like to make sure that when you have these three level areas, make sure that there's enough room when you draw your higher time frame fib to make sure there's enough range in that. And this one, that's $14, $15 range in between. That's a good range. Right now it's in the upper, it was in the upper 25, came back out. I have a little bit of a trend coming down here. And for those of you that are new, allow me to introduce, you guys all know Eva. Eva's been around for quite a while, and she's my main go-to person. But we have Brian that's been joining us, and he'll be joining us here for pretty much the rest of the summer. I'll let you know, Brian is my partner in trading, and we've been partners for 5 or 6 years now, I believe.
And partner in crime.
Yeah. But Brian's a very accomplished trader, and he's going to be he's a school teacher, full-time school teacher. So now school's out, he's able to come and join us during the daytime, during these sessions. So you'll be hearing more and more from Brian as the summer progresses. But I wanted to introduce you to him, that he's not just somebody random off the street. Well, he's kind of random off the street, but
He is kind of random, yeah.
I'm definitely random and off the street.
But you'll be hearing more from Brian as the time goes on. So so we're happy to have him back and giving us another look at some of the same things we've been looking at. Sometimes he can explain things and show things in a way that maybe make more sense to everybody. Learns a little bit differently, and we try to address a lot of those different learning styles as we go along. But sometimes
Brian's a swing trader. For all you swing traders out there with your questions.
Yeah, I'm a long. You get me on a 1 minute chart, and I'm freaking out a little bit, but it's fun. I enjoy it.
So Brian and I have two very different trading styles, but we
Yeah,
work
yours
very
makes
well
money,
together.
mine's lose money. Is that the style is?
Yeah,
Just
something like
playing.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Not
so
true.
but I'll tell you that what's happened too is that different styles work better in different environments. And right now we're just kind of in the summertime is just kind of a tough environment sometimes because things just don't always move as uh, with the same momentum.
Yeah, and I found that the summertime is a little bit easier to drop down to lower time frame
Yeah, things aren't
for
quite
me.
as
For me.
yeah. So I'm not even sure where to go with this German 30 here right now. It's pulled out. We have a nice little trend coming up. We have a little flat bottom one coming here. We have this little, here's a nice little rally. There's a little basing. Another shot up, came back, retested it. And now it's looking like from this launch of, actually, we have, this is really where the origin of this strong up move came in. Here's our M that we have. And as we see, it's breaking through this area right in here. It's actually starting to show us some signs of going to the downside here. We may actually have some trades here possibly. Let me see if we can expand this thing out a little bit. I like to trade the German 30 this time because their markets are open. Ours are still trying to wake up. We have the upper trend line. Now we have another little secondary trend coming in, as you can see from this area. So it's gaining a little bit of momentum to the downside. And it broke through. Here was an anchor. Here's the first hit. I allow one violation of a trend line. This is it right here in the middle. And came back up and retested. I do like this little zone right in this area for support. And if we can get this thing to have enough room to the downside, we should have 12 pips. But the moving averages are wrong right now. We're getting the crossover of the 5 and the 13 crossing over. We're getting some consolidation right in this area. So I'm going to, this thing could really give us a little bit of what I call the head fake, where if it breaks through this zone, it really does look like this would be the next target for it to come up to. But right now, there's still a little bit of a indecision as far as which way it's going to go. We're in the upper orange line. We're coming into the, here's the first line up as it came down, broke, came back, retested it. The euro was weak, I believe, is what we said earlier. Double check that. The euro is strong. So the euro is strong, which means this thing has the room to the upside. The euro is strong. The German 30 is more likely to be going to the downside. It usually works opposite. It looks a lot like the dollar index with the dollar and in our stock market. If the dollar is strong, the stock market is weak. If the dollar is weak, the stock market is strong. And so let's see here. Let's expand this out a little bit. And let's see, we have lots of consolidation right here. Everything is right on top of each other. And we have this other little trend coming up. Momentum just pushed up, went down, pushing up. The momentum is pushing up. Brian was using a new term yesterday, momentum as opposed to trend. Trend on the bigger time frame, momentum on the shorter time frame. Looks like it wants to break down. The the euro was still strong. And looks like it's trying to break into this little zone down here. A lot of activity in the household this morning, so bear with me with Mama is in the hospital right now.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she went last night.
On her own?
Well, apparently so, because called her and said they could take her. When she got there, he said, well, we can't induce you because you're in too much labor. So,
She's already in labor.
So she's actually started labor on her own. So
That's good.
Our grandson is about to be born today, we figure. So,
yeah.
So anything noise in the background, you'll be hearing some small voices in the background that may be happy or maybe sad voices, but Nonetheless,
if it's crying, we probably shouldn't take the trade. If it's happy, we probably should. That's just
yeah,
odds and answers.
yeah. There we go. Another awesome answer. So let's see where we at here. This thing, I like this thing to the downside, but we got this zone right here. I'm not real happy about trying to. That's only a $5 move. I'd like to see a little bit more range on that. We do have a trend line. Here's with nice little anchor here. Yeah, it came back down, retested this little zone right in here. So I'm going to draw another trend line off of this one. This will be a little bit off of the higher time frame, a little bit lower target. That's a huge wick on that one. I like this. This is a nice, had this nice little wick area facing, came back up. I can see it coming back down to retest this area in here today. But we have this moving average, our arrow moving average. We have a little bit of our M. Here's a strong move up. Here's the middle of the M. Left shoulder, right shoulder, came back down, broke through here. And now it's testing this little area right in here. If it can break through this moving average, I'm on a 15-minute chart now. If it can break through that moving average, then we have room to the downside as it starts working its way through these orange levels into this trend line right in here. And this thing could go even lower. Actually, I could put it off the wick. I usually like drawing off the wicks here. So this zone right here is actually a pretty solid zone off the 15-minute chart. So it looks like on a 5-minute, nothing's really there in the way on the 5-minute either. It isn't until we get to a 1-minute that we have a little bit of a zone. So if we can get through this little area right here, we have a good shot down to this one. And that could be a nice little move today. And it looks like we're maybe possibly get into that a little bit early. Came back up. We have the crossover. We broke the trend line. It's breaking through this first barrier, which is our first 38% retracement of our higher time frame. And we're going to see how it can handle that. So right now it broke this one. It broke the M. All of our moving averages are in the correct direction. But now we just have to get through this little zone right here, which is relatively thick. But it's a $7 move or €7 range on that. But there is some room to the bottom of this. With the euro being strong, then I like this thing going to the short side. And we may actually get a little arrow alert on this one, possibly. I'm not quite ready to take it because of this little area right in here. I like to see it break through. I'd like to see it break through this little area level right in here before we take it. This thing still could have some volatility. You just want to put everything, all the odds in your favor, as many odds in your favor as you can. I'm going to redraw this trend line. I like this little pivot here. It came up to the zone, came back down, retested. I like this trend right in that one. And it does sort of coincide with this. Yeah, a little bit of I said I'll allow one little breach of one wick right here. That's the breach anchor. Here's the hit. Here's the third hit on the trend line. We had the break of this one, and now we're looking like this thing is going to be respecting this trend and maybe make another little turn to the downside with all our moving average in the right direction. Here's our 200. Here's our arrow moving average. We had the break. We have the M. A lot of reasons to take this thing to the downside.
Excuse me.
And as it comes back up to retest this little area up here, we can maybe start looking at an opportunity to get into this thing. I like seeing that if it pulls back off, if it can pull up high enough, if I can see it pull back up to like the 61 line up on this area, or at least retest these trend lines, these upper trend lines and hold, then we may be able to take this thing short. And we have the Swiss yen 1-minute charts, British US 5 minutes. It did say that the British was weak, the dollar was strong. British US could be a good possibility as well. So I'm going to keep an eye on this trade and see if this thing gives us a reason to, if these moving averages cross over, trades off, we have to wait for it to get done pulling back. But right now it's trading inside this zone right here between this red zone. And here, there's the nice little, that's a $11 move. You have to get a few dollars out of it. Let's check our chart to make sure that the euro is still strong. The euro is losing a little bit of its ground to the, let's see, that was the yen that we're talking about. The yen is still strong, or the euro is, that's for German 30. The euro is losing a little bit of its strength. And the British pound is still weak. Dollar is still relatively strong, except over here. They're kind of fighting it over here on the 30-minute. Not a big change. The 5-minute looks pretty good for the dollar strength to the British pound. Let's take a look at that one. Right now, we're just checking this pullback right now. I don't like the fact that we got the crossover right now. This thing may be starting to reverse position, so we're going to not take that trade. Let's take a look at the British, US, British, US. Let's see where it is, the British US. It's probably not on my chart here. The German 30, aren't we glad we didn't take that thing short right there? British US, here we go. Let's try the British US, take a look at that one, see where, boy, big move down, oofta. Let's find out where our zones are. That was news right there. That was a news announcement. And that's when that was mentioned, someone mentioned about the FX book was saying that there was some British news, and that was probably what that was. That was pretty much right at right around 8:30. Right about 8 o'clock. Coming at 8:30, going to 9 o'clock.
At 8:30, we have U.S. news. It's 8 o'clock right now.
Okay, U.S. news. Is that one the FX book?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, now all we can do with this one is take that strong move down. We don't want to be trying to catch a falling knife. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to put our little British US sell on the 5-minute. That's, I can see that.
Let me say something while you're designing and drawing for those who are swing traders. This is at a critical place for a swing trade. It's one that I would not get in immediately right away anyway. We have been in an uptrend for quite some time. A couple of indicators that I use have flipped. Obviously, same thing with arrow, very similar to what I'm using, but you can count the colors on the daily chart. You can see 4 color reds and 3 color greens. The SSI, which is the speculative sentiment, it looks like it wants to slide from being a buy into a sell. It's right in the tweener. There's nothing you can do immediately, but if you're more of a swing trader, I would be waiting for the 4,100 mark to be your sell opportunity.
And that's on the
pound US,
British
yeah.
US, pound US. Okay.
I'm a big fan of the pound US. It's one of the easier ones for me to swing trade, but it's really in the middle of a sideways trend, and that trend started. I mean, now if you're looking back, it goes back to February, but the overall push has always been up. But we finally have some indication of a potential change.
Yeah, this is a nice little range right here. I mean, you can see where it's sort of back here in the middle of June. This was the low. Nice little rally, nice little trending on up. Now it's coming back down to retest. Now, if you take it from this point right here, which was that was 2 days ago. That was on today's Thursday, Wednesday. This one, Tuesday's low, made a new high. So it's made a new high, higher highs and higher lows pretty much since this whole week. And it's now breaking through. It's retracing back into from this is the week's low right down here. So we're going to take it from that low because that's pretty much the range we're looking at. It's going to give us a lot more range to be working with. as far as where our targets are going to be. Right now, you can see right now from this low to this high, it's pulled back. It's right at the coming into that 38 to 50% range. Here's our first orange line right here. And so this is, it looks like it's pushing to the upside, and this is just a pullback retracement of that up move, just a little bit of profit taking coming in there. These are our three zones that's coming in, and this is just a falling knife right now. We don't have any place to get into this one right now. This is on a 1 hour chart. We'll go to a 15 minutes. You'll be getting any type of a pullback on this. Move this up just a little bit to tweak that. Adjust these. There. And one more right there. That's close enough right there. And we'll see where this thing drops, and see where on this right now on a 15-minute, it's just dropping. A lot of this was the announcement. You can see where it pulls back. When it pulls back, as we mark these zones, we have our middle zones marked. I'm going to go to the shape with the rectangle. And there's the top range. And here's the bottom third is coming in. There's the bottom third. And we'll see, so we have our ranges marked, we got our Fibonacci's marked, and we're going to go to a lower time frame and see if we can catch the pullback on this big strong down move, where it gets it down, where we can get a drop, a base, and then another drop. Object list. And we're going to delete that one. Hang on a second here. So now let's take a look at the lower time frames and see if we can find this a pullback. We've got all our moving averages are good. I said here's a little drop, here's the base. It looks like this thing's going to drop some more, but we don't know where the bottom is, and we don't want to try and get in, just watch it come back against us. If you like this move right in here, here's the top, here's the bottom. We don't know where the bottom is. We probably may get a little, I'm going to guess we're going to get a bounce. We'll probably get a close somewhere underneath this orange line, pull back, and then maybe give us a chance to, for this range right in here, this range right here. That's a 20, that's a 28 pip range there. Let's see if we can find a way to get into this thing. Let's take a look, see how our Euro Yen's doing. Is that one's dropping off? That's dropping as well. How about our German 30? Where's that one? Oh, the German 30 just rocketed off. No indication of getting in on that one. Now it's sitting up on the upper trend line, I bet, coming in on that. And let's keep an eye on this British US. If we go to try to get on this one, there's a good chance it's going to come all the way down and break through these zones. But it's, like I said, it's like trying to catch a falling knife. You need to get a chance to be able to wait where it kind of bases a little bit. Now it did base here. Here's a move, and one just went sideways. Now it's dropping again. But you're taking a chance of getting in right at the low. You don't want to be chasing. You want to be trying to get in after a pullback when it starts losing a little bit of momentum and know where another target may be. This thing could reverse just as easily right against you on a 1 minute chart. Let's see if we have anything here. And when you get those news announcements, you don't always know which direction it's going to break to. And then if you, after it happens, you can see, oh, I should have gotten in there. But the woulda, shoulda, coulda is always a challenge, because you just never know. I do like this. This is a nice move. I would expect this area up here to be retested on a pullback, but I still see a target down below. So we can get this thing to take a little bit of a breather in here. Maybe try taking a little short on that. Let's see where the British pound is. Probably still weak. I'm going to guess it's weak on all time frames. So yeah, we do not want to take this thing long. We just want to buy it, sell a pullback on this one. I like to see a pullback to the 23% area range, but we may not get that much of a pullback if this thing still has a lot of downward pressure. Like I said, these zones right in here are, right now, these are 10 pip zones, which is a lot more tolerable for the range. And if this thing can break, then I would be looking at this for the target, and this is a little bit better. That's a 26 pip range. Again, we're just waiting for a little bit of a pullback. You can see how it came down to this orange line. It came back down, it cycled around a little bit, and then it just dropped again. It's coming right down. It's probably going to cycle around a little bit and probably take another drop down again. But you may get a little bit stronger pullback after this first little drop, this little basing in here. You may get a little bit more of another basing in this area. But I think with this one, we could probably put a little bit of a sell stop right below where this lower price is and try and catch this move, wait for it to pull back, and then just let it come back as another knife coming right down through, get us into the trade and take it that way. Let's see if we can expand this out a little bit. So we're getting a nice little bounce off of here. This is what we're looking for. We know where our target is, so we're just going to bring this down and see how far much pullback of this down move we can get. And remember, I like to see a, I could probably take it right about to this orange line here. I like to see it come up to the 23. It came up to the 23, and we're starting to get a little bit of a hook. I'm going to put a sell stop in right about in this area. I'm going to right click, trade, sell stop. That's going to mark the line right there. As it comes back up and retests, comes back down, retest this line, and see if it's going to continue on going through. Right now, I'm not in this trade. Right now, it's just pending. And I'll see how deep it goes. It went into my 23. Here's my 23 to the 50 range. That's the zone I like to see it pull back into with a wick. Here's the 50. This is our zone to re-enter. But again, I want to see it wick up because this thing could keep on rocking up just like the German 30 did. It just went up and just kept on going. Right now, we're not in it. If we got in it right up in here, now we'd be taking a little bit of heat. I'm trying to avoid having to do that. And we'll just see what kind of a pullback we have off of this little down move. It came up, it's right up to the 50% of this strong move right here. And you can also take it maybe right from that area. This is actually where this was the high where it actually broke from. So this would be like see what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is like an 1 minute, 8 minute candle. There's 8 minute bars in here, all straight down, coming back before we got another, you even see another little green retracement. Came up to the 50% of this down move. Moving averages have now crossed over. I can maybe even move this thing up a little bit higher. Give it a little bit better entry. I'm just follow this thing up for when this thing does come back down. If nothing else, it's going to come down and retest this area. If I can get in, at least I'll get positive enough to maybe have it keep on falling through. or at least get my spread taken care of on this when the momentum starts to change again. The green line is coming right up to the yellow. It hasn't crossed yet. It's up to the 50%. It's finding a little bit of buyers coming in here. If we get a close above the arrow moving average, this blue one, if we get a close above that, I'll probably pull this and see if it's going to start reversing direction. This is one really big move. This is the area where it's testing itself. Right. All this sideways motion right up in here it could come up and retest all this area. But if the trend's going to hold, this arrow moving average should also hold. Starting to consolidate a little bit. Again, we're not in the trade to take it short. Check it and make sure that euro or the British pound is still weak, and it is still weak on all three time frames. The dollar is still gaining strength over here on the 5-minute and the 15. It still have a nice little spread on that, so we're still good to go short on this, and we're just waiting to see where it's going to settle in. We have a little bit of a cross right now, so we have to be a little bit aware as this thing comes up. We have the cross of the 5 and the 13. We get the tag off of that. Here's our red bar, red candle. You tag that moving average. So that's a little wick, red candle with the close, and now it's coming in to see if we can get into this trade. And as soon as we get in, we're going to put our stop in. Let's see what if I put a stop of, what do we get in, and then I'll put the zones in. There we go. We just triggered the trade. I'm going to put my stop in, modify it, and we'll see how far we can take this thing down. 15 pip stop. I'm going to give this thing a little bit more of a target. I'm going to give it a 15 pip target for right now. We'll see. We may pull ourselves a little bit earlier on this. And right now my stop is all the way up here at this 88% retracement of this whole down move. Moving average came up. They've recrossed back. Actually, they were crossed. This candle brought it back down again before it closed. And now all of our moving averages are in the right direction. It's still following this blue moving average for a trend line for a stop. I can try and keep my stop above that at this point. I'll just give this thing a little bit of room to breathe to the downside and see what it does. At the very least, I would expect it to retest this pivot line and this orange line. And the next zone is going to be right down in here. This thing pulled back to the 61% retracement. So our target is going to be a 61% overextension down in this area. Let me expand that out. First target is going to be actually the pivot down here. That's actually our first target. The next target is going to be the opposite of the pullback, which is the 50 to 61. And so that's going to put us down here for the extension. Here's the 50 to 61 area right in here. And then a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just move this up about halfway through, move that little halfway mark right up in there. And that's right where my target is. Now, if it can't break through this before it breaks up again, then we're going to pull this trade and see if it goes up a little bit higher, because this thing could be a B, C retracement off the bottom. We have a little bit of a trend coming in the bottom here. It never really did come up and retest this area. It still has some room to the downside. And this is the upper 25% of this. And you can see this range right in here, all these candles facing in here is all in the upper 25% of this down move as in a microcosm. Mark that off here. This is where it's going to be retested. If it breaks through this, then we're going to be out of this trade. So far, this moving average is holding. We have a little pivot high right up here. We have a double top right in this area. We're on a 1 minute chart, so you have to take that all into consideration. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this stop up here above, because what I may do is if this thing pulls back, I may take a second position to dollar cost average this as this thing pulls back. This area should hold. If it doesn't hold, then I'm just going to take the loss and move on. But we have two downward pointing moving averages. This is our 62. And as long as I can keep my stop above that one, if this one does break, this one should still hold. This whole zone should still hold. I'm anticipating that there's still some sell orders up in this area that when it gets up there, they're going to sell it again and push it back down again. So we're taking a little bit of heat on this, but nothing too bad. Profit and points. Right now it's only 4 pips, so we're only draw down on 4 pips on this trade. And we just got another red zone, which is a good thing. So it's got 2 zones to go through, plus the upper 25% area, which is this is a level on a level. And we know that the upper 25% of this down move here is still a barrier, and we have our stop above that. So if it comes up to this area, I would not be too hesitant to take another short to dollar cost average this one, have my break even point somewhere in between the middle. I'm still looking for this as the target for it to go lower. And we wait. Let's see what happened while we're waiting here. Let's see what happened to the German 30. Where did that all go? German 30-minute charts. Let's expand this one out. Still keeping an eye on our trade. We have the other little column over here for our British US trade. And here's our nice little range. Let's see what the range on this one is. It looks like 200 and some dollar move. That's a significant move. We have a bounce, arrow, go. Let's see how much room do we have to the upside on this one. $74. And I say we can probably take this one long. Let me draw this thing out, get my moving averages and make sure my moving averages are in the right direction. Retesting, oh, the moving averages are in the correct direction. Not quite, but getting close. The 5 period is definitely in the right direction, and we have a little trend. Here's where our momentum is. From up here is our pivot high. Here's our hit. That's where it first got rejected. We have a low, higher low. Looking at this area for our wedge. And we had a strong move up, pulled back, strong move up, pulled back, took out this pivot. And right now it's inside this range right in here. We can get a break above, then we have room to the upside. We have this arrow, nice little arrow with a pullback. This is a 30-minute chart. Let's see what it looks like on a 15-minute. Here's a bounce arrow right here, retested it. We have this zone, we got to get through this little red zone to the next zone up here. There is room to the upside if it does break through this trend. Let's draw our fibs on this, with the higher time frame. We'll draw the fibs. Here's our high, here's our low. Remember, everything goes from the high to the low and it settles in between. It goes from the in between to the high, back to the middle. From the middle, back to the low, back to the middle. It just keeps cycling back and forth. The thing is, you don't always know which direction it's going to go once it's out of this middle range. You don't know if it's going to break to the upside to test or break to the downside to retest. That's where the patience comes in. Here's our upper third to the day. Thursdays are generally pretty good days to be trading. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are my favorite days of the week to be trading. But that doesn't mean it's going to give you a clear picture every time either. All we can do is draw the pictures and plan the probabilities. Okay, so back to the business at hand here. We'll just keep on watching this one to see what to do. Anybody have any questions, comments? See what German US is.
Coming in 5 minutes.
Oh, was that? I'm sorry, you would say that one again?
Just keep in mind that the US red folder is coming in 5 minutes.
Okay, thanks. Well, we could get another little spike around here. If we do, we'll get out of this trade and take our hit and move forward. I did a little test last night on the. This is the theorem. This is I decided to take a trade on the theorem and see what happens. Of course, it didn't. Right now, it's moved in the wrong direction. Started off in the right direction, then moved in the wrong direction overnight. You get a lot of moves in the overnight range, so you just have to. I generally don't do that, but I thought, well, I'm just going to take a shot at it here. But it's just not working out very well. But I'm not overly concerned about it. And let's see, we're coming up to this British US coming up to retest. Here's our ABC retracement. Did have a little wick down here. I don't like that part. It broke this bottom wick, but it just wicked down to go up higher. But there's a lot of selling pressure coming in. This is where there was equilibrium. Buyers and sellers were in equilibrium. Sellers took over, came back up. Now the buyers are taking over into this area. If it breaks through here, this thing could go up a little bit. Could go up to, we have a level on a level with this. So if it breaks, it takes my stop. It takes my stop. I'm just going to, I'll take the hit. Right now, I expect this area to hold. I may have to take a little bit of heat, but then looking for it to retest this trend line right in here. I'm just going to use this as a breach of the trend line, the first wick down, because there was you can see this area right here, this low and this low are all pretty much the same. So I'm going to use that as the same point. And that was just a temporary wick. Now, right now we have the upper 25% zone, and we're going to be looking for the same thing for a reversal up in this area. Came back, it broke through the arrow moving average, but now we have the 62, and it's bouncing right off that 62 moving average. Came up into that upper 25% zone. And now we'll see what happens with this push right down. See what happens with this trend line right here. We're getting a rejection off of this point. So we have another trend line or momentum line, as Brian would like to call it. Here's our momentum line. Here's the hit. Here's the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's the hit. This is the third hit. Rejection. Now it's inside this little wedge coming back down. If it breaks through here, we should be home free coming down into this area. This was our A, B, C retracement. It had a strong down move, a three-wave retracement off of this, and then we should be able to, hopefully this thing will bring it down into our target zone down below. If it bounces off of here, I can still get out with a little bit of a profit. And now it's retesting inside this middle three zones. And here.
Hey Al, question for you.
Yes.
Are you using any iris at all anymore?
I still get the iris feeds. I haven't really been looking at it too much. I will look at it if we're searching for something that's. I will take a look at them, but I don't use it very much at all. And
Yeah,
actually, I believe they've stopped the feed for most people. I don't think you can buy it anymore. I still get the feed on it.
Okay. I was just curious for the wedge stuff because that's you can see a wedge forming on those things. So just curious.
Yeah. But right now, this is actually in a little bit of an upper channel. Here's our drop, here's our low, here's a high, and sort of channeling. And we can actually draw another little trend line from here up to here. And we'll see if it's going to retest this channel here. Came back down to the bottom. This was a breach of the whole thing, but I think this is just a retracement of this big down move. But the down move was in two waves. It started way up to the top here, came back down, base, came back down. Now it's retesting the halfway mark of the down move. If this breaks, it's going to come up and retest the origin of where this move started with before the announcement. In which case we could be looking, we have this strong move here, basing. Here's our 200 moving average. If this can break through this little zone, then we have a lot of room to the upside to take it up to here. That'd be a 37 pip move. I'm about ready to get stopped out on this. So this little zone's not holding anymore. We have this is a little bit of a level on a level. So this area right in here. Okay, I just got stopped out on that, but now let's see what happens with this little zone.
Okay, now be quiet. Papa's on.
I think somebody else wants to teach the class.
Yeah, I'll probably mute my mic here for a little bit off and on here as things develop.
I heard buy, but I'm not so sure they're right. It was either that or
Again song.
I was gonna say that was an NSYNC Backstreet, one of those that buy.
It was a bye, but I think it was used a different term here.
Yeah.
Although I think we may want to be buying this thing. Right now we have to. I guess it's got okay. I did get stopped out on that one, so right now we've got this little level. When you get these really big moves, all you can do is play the odds. I mean, it could have had just as much chance to pull back down again. I do like this zone as to take it short in here, but I said I didn't want to give it any more room than it did because this thing could still come back up and retest the origin of this move.
Yeah, and you are really looking at a very low time frame, so you're truly going momentum because on the bigger picture it looks a little bit different.
Yeah, and you can see where this thing wicked up right here. This is that first orange line. It wicked up and didn't close above it. If we look at if I can expand this to a 5-minute chart, you can see this is a 5-minute candle, and we'll see if this 5-minute candle can close above. As I said, I got stopped out, but that doesn't mean I can't get back in again.
Just understand that where price currently is sitting on a very strong area of supply. So if it can break it, you got some room to move, but I'm not so sure it's going to.
If it breaks all these wicks and all this movement here, remember I talked about a lot of times, if you go and you see, if you move this over to where the top wick is, you run into a body of the candle. Once you run into the body, if you don't see any more wicks, that means this was only a 1-minute chart. This thing just dropped free fell all the way down to here in 1 minute's time. It went 59 pips in 1 minute. This is a strong area right in here. And when it dropped, it came back down. This is as high as it came. So if it can break and close above this line right here, it's got pretty much the whole next move up to this area to go. And then we'll probably jump on that and see what happens. But right now, there's still a lot of sellers in this area.
And you're looking at a couple other things. You got, you break this supply. That's number one. That's your aggressive move, in my opinion. That's your aggressive entry because you don't have quite as much room to the 39.28 area, where's the top of your line. And then may look at a potential buyback in at 3,900 as a potential buy if you feel strongly on the buy.
Yeah, I said if we get a wick up anywhere into this zone, just a wick up and a rejection and a break of this bottom trend line, then we can probably retest this low again. Like I said, I got stopped out, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to jump back in again. I just don't want to give it any more room because I know that if it can break through here, it's got a lot of area to the upside. But all the moving averages are basically still in the correct direction. Now on a 5-minute chart, they're still in the right direction. Here's our yellow one. Our yellow line is still way up here, right up in where this area is. So a lot's going to tell whether or not this 5-minute candle can close above this orange line. If it wicks up and can't close, then it's probably going to come back and retest this.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the 5-minute chart, your price is currently above the green and the yellow, but your target would have to be the blue line. And now we just closed. We just closed above the green and yellow. So what's the measurement there?
Oh, this is the 5-minute. There's a 5-minute close. Yep. And see, and it did not close above the orange. Now this one could still wick on up, but we don't. Right, so far we do not have a close above the orange line. We do have this trend line down here. I'm just going to move that down a little bit to right about that area. So we do not have a 5-minute close. We'll probably get a 1-minute close somewhere along the way.
I went ahead and jumped in as an aggressive buy.
As aggressive buy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And just a few more pips and I'll be done.
It looks like it's going to come up and retest this area.
Yeah, it's not my favorite trade. I would prefer going south with at the 39, but
let's see what
39.30.
It's a British pound. The British pound still weak. It is gaining some strength to the dollar here on the 5-minute chart. Still weak over here. So I still wouldn't give a whole lot of room to the upside still. This is just a pullback right in this area. So the pullback, the dollar's lost some ground to the British pound, but it's still buried here on these lower time frames, but they're kind of fighting it right here. The US British are right together, right together, right together. And now we're starting to get the strength of the pound off the dollar on the lower time frame. So it is, the momentum is changing.
And on the 5 minutes, your green line is getting ready to cross your yellow, which is your first cross.
Yeah, and we do have all the moving averages are in the right direction. Other than that, but we also have this 200, which is all below the 200, but they're all the green, the yellow, and the blue are all in the right order. So it does have the room to the upside.
I'll give it a little bit of time. If it doesn't do it within the next 5-10 minutes, I'll close it out for whatever it is. I'm kind of looking at 2 candles back as my pivot. I didn't put a 15 pip stop. I put about a 10, 12, somewhere in there.
And we have about 7 pip target to the upside on this one here.
Right. That's where I'm at. I need current price to close a little bit higher than where it's at right now to overcome the candle previous. Otherwise, we got some selling pressure above it. Of course, you're on the 1 minute. I'm on the 5 minutes. So
yeah,
I can't get down to that 1 minute. It's just, I get all amped up.
Looks like we're going to get that. Let's see, what time is it now? It's on, what's our time here?
8:38.
You got 2 more minutes for the 5-minute candle to close. And then we're looking at this would be the target, but this is still on the down. It's still, I would still consider this to be a contra trend at this point because of all these moving averages coming down.
Agree.
I still like to see it come back, bounce, and give me another retracement to the downside here. But like I said, if it breaks through this orange line here, it's got pretty much clear sailing to get up to the upper part.
Yeah, that's my target. My target's just below your yellow line, or orange line.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse the fibs on this one. Since it's making new highs. So we got this zone here.
You're showing new high? Yeah, mine's not showing a new high yet. Mine's just showing the same high.
Well, I'm reversing this from this low to this high. And actually we have to be respectful of this area right here, which is where this pivot high was. And now this upper 25% zone is up in this area.
Now I have a new high.
And so we do have a close. Let's see. Yeah, we do have not quite 1 more minute, and we'll see if we get the 5-minute close above. But I said we're right up into this zone. I'm still not going to take this thing long.
I got in early, so
yeah.
Based on candle structure.
I'm still looking for this thing to maybe retest this bottom.
Like I said, I kind of like it down. We just had the crossing, but I like it down. But this is one of those ones that's right in between that I have enough room to I guess obviously it's aggressive, but
yeah,
have enough room to get that 7 pips before I want to take it down.
Yeah.
Just so you guys are aware, on the longer term, the pound US for swing is continuing to decrease the longs. So it looks like it wants to flip to go down on the higher time frame.
This may have been the launch of that move.
Could have very been. And they're just doing a simple pullback, clearing out some things, and then going in that direction. Okay, I got just a couple more minutes before I'm going to close it out. I didn't want to be in this too long, I should say. Okay, I've got my 6 pips. I'm going to close it out. Done. I'm out of it. Probably could have waited a little bit, but better to get that 5 to 6 pips before it decides it wants to move.
Oh, remember, you still have to get that spread, cleared out through there. And right now, the spread, it looks like it's actually the spread looks pretty tight, all in all.
Yeah, it's tight for me. We're
when
sitting
when the spreads get real tight, that means the market makers they're probably not quite sure which way it's going to go either, or they're when they start widening the spreads, that means things are changing from what you're expecting. I'm not exactly sure what that all means, but I've noticed sometimes when you get to a bounce point, the spreads will widen and you just can't quite get it closed out.
Excuse me. I'm looking at the 39.24 having a green fib line as well. So I got out before we crammed into that thing. And I'm just not liking the structure of the last 3 candles on the 5 minute where they have such pressure on the top side. I just think that that may have just been a temporary. But I don't have to worry about it now. It's already done.
Yeah. You did get a 5 minute close above this orange line. Now I'm going to see a 5 minute close below the orange line. This would be sort of like a pass and check. It's passing. It passed it, closed. Now we're looking. Now it's retraced. It's testing this orange line right here.
What does your orange line represent?
That's that represents the 38.2, the 50, and the 61.8 retracement off the higher time frame Fibonacci move.
Okay, so it's not our standard fib number like we do with our.
It's basically based on the standard fib number of the 38, 23.6, 38.2, 50, 61.8. It's based on those fib numbers. Now we have some other fib numbers that Brian's talking about that we use off the TradingView charts. That they're more of the institutional levels that we look at.
And that's where the current 5 minute chart, 5 minute price is reacting from. It touched the green line on my chart and it's been moving down since. But we're going to have a battle here because you got moving averages that are below and moving averages above on a 5 minute. You're on your 1 minute chart. Or you're on your 5 minute as well.
I'm on a 5 minute right now. I'm just going to see where this 5 minutes closed. But if you look at the 1 minute, we probably had a nice little. Well, we really don't have any strong wicks. It's not like we had a strong wick push up and pull back down again.
No.
So it's all pretty much somewhat even keeled.
Yeah, it almost looks like a consolidation of some sort.
Yeah, well, it was consolidating right here before. I suspect it's going to have a little battle going on right here as well.
And the in regards to the Fibonacci plot, the ones that we have plotted for us, price came up to a blue one and then it's been rejected since on the 1 minute. I think if I'm going to be a buyer again, it would be closer to the 39.05 area. But other than that, I'm staying out of that for a while.
And that's going to be right about in here, this area, this 38.2 fib line off of this new move that we have.
Yeah.
You can see it's just very gradually just trending. It's the slope. You can see the slope on this is really. You can see the slope of this one is straight down. This one is just sort of. It's just there's a little constant battle just where they're just taking positions. Back and forth on a very narrow or very slow sloping up into these levels. If we can get a strong push up, then we know that the buyers are taking control. Then we look for that out of the little pullback to take it up higher. But right now, there's still a lot of indecision in this area. Anything else should we be looking at in the meantime? Let's see here. 1 hour, British pound, British pound. British CAD. Let's see, where's the CAD on this whole thing here? Canadian dollar is weak. Pound is weak. So right now the pound just everything's sort of playing with the pound here today.
Yeah. Playing games.
Something there. Let's see our British 30. Where's that? British 35 minute. Let's take a look at that one. A lot of consolidation going on in that area too. Nothing real evident. 5 minutes. Everything's just real tight right here on everything. Nothing to play on that. Try Cat Swiss, see what that one's looking like. Again, it's real tight. Looks like it may want to break out the bottom. This one, if it can close out the bottom here, we have 7 pips. Need more room. Just need more room. Everything's so tight. It's British. Now this trend line here, if we go with this one, this sort of respect this little, had this little breakup and pivot, but here's a pivot.
Okay, I just put my buy order in. I heard buy. I'm in.
The Wolf of Wall Street.
I'm just telling you, kids have no clue what they're doing, but they end up winning.
Yeah, out of the mouth of babes. Yeah, out of the mouth of babes. Yeah.
And they were adamant about it. They said buy a couple of times. Probably a better price than I got before.
A few distractions around the household today.
Hey, you're getting ready to be a grandfather again.
Again, yep.
Just be happy we're not in the labor room. We can hear all sorts of stuff.
This is a labor room. Yeah. It's just a labor room. You hear people crying and groaning here too.
No, that's true enough.
My wife got so mad at me. I was on tour when Brianna was born. We were in Jacksonville and finished a concert the night before. Got in. We were staying on the property of the airport. Got a call at 5 a.m. and said, "Hey, Kim's in labor. You need to get back to Dallas." So I jump on the first flight to Jacksonville, from Jacksonville to Dallas. And next thing you know, I get here. Grandfather picks me up at the airport. Would normally be about an hour and 10-minute drive from the airport to the hospital. Was about 35 minutes. And he was flying. And then I got in there, and Kim was so absolutely angry at me because I immediately started going in there and telling jokes. She was not in the mood. I was having a great time. I had concert hangover. I mean, I was tired. I flew standby at that time, so they only had one seat in the plane to get to Dallas as a nonstop, and they put me in first class. It was great. How often does that happen? That was after 9/11. I had no baggage, nothing, and they just put me right on.
At least something good happened, and Brianna, but
Brianna's labor was real short comparative to Kylie. Kylie was 20 hours. We were there at 2:00 in the morning, and she wasn't born until after Monday Night Football. I can tell you who was playing too. I told Kim, I said, I told Kim, I said, you better not have this baby during Monday night.
Present dads, is that right?
Yeah, I was sitting there saying, I looked at her and said, is there any way, because it was Brett Favre and it was Green Bay against Minnesota. It was a great Monday night game. I said, you can't you've waited all day long. Can you not hold off until the end of this game? Dadgummit, she didn't hold on until it was over. And then all of a sudden she says, it's time. I said, yeah, you think? It was perfect. Kim was hilarious. I mean, she literally held off for the football game for me.
Anything to keep you happy, right, Brian?
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you, we should have taken the baby's choice because they said buy, and look what's happened.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah. This looks like it's going to make another
push up.
It's going to make a push up. It's going to retest this area. This thing could be going sideways for the whole rest of the day.
This was the one. Baby called it. I should have been in.
Yeah.
I've been out again for another 7 pips. Never underestimate the power of children. I've learned that from my 4th graders. They see things we don't see.
They're uncluttered.
They're uncluttered. That's exactly right. They're not. Christopher took the buy. He took the baby. This is called the baby strategy.
All right, we're gonna call this is we'll call this Connor's strategy.
Yeah, if Connor says it go, we go. It's a deal. If he starts crying, we sell.
Yeah.
Hey, there are some traders out there that's superstitious that they would do exactly that.
Well, probably sometimes it works about as good as any other system out there.
You got a 50-50 shot. Yeah.
Oh my.
The Connor strategy. We're in. Go tell your friends. Invite them in tomorrow morning. We'll make sure. And if Connor's not making any noise, we'll give him a spanking or something to get him going, and we'll be trading all day long.
Aw, poor Connor.
Well, you got it. If he's happy, you're buying. If he's crying, you're selling.
Somehow you don't have to. Somehow there seems to be a way of just sitting by, and you'll get one of both of them in a very short period of time.
The odds are it is going to either move up or down, one of the two.
Yep.
And right now, Connor called it.
Yeah.
Several times. He told us by quite a number.
He told us earlier. We thought it was in sync, but no, it was buy.
He's just imitating what he hears Grandpa saying all the time.
I'm just going to tell those who are in the room this morning that his trading record is better than his grandfather's at this point.
It was today.
Yes, 1 for 1 or 2 for 2, however you want to look at it. I have not heard crying yet, so there was a potential sell, but I didn't hear it, so I didn't take it.
Well, they're out of the house now, so.
Oh, they were hosed. All right. It's good that y'all came this morning. Let's go ahead and call it a day. Oh, gosh.
Well, let's see if we can find something else here. It has been a stellar morning for it. I mean, well, you made a little bit of money today, but
yeah, I made money.
I'm still looking for this area to break, but once this starts breaking, then I think we can start. It's going to come up and retest that, but it's got to get through this. I said this is usually when you get such a real slow grinding up move, it will just tank to the downside.
Yeah,
and then to give another quick retest, and then it may either keep on going or then it'll bounce back up, and But right now we're kind of in the middle of no man's land right now to do anything with this one. So let's see.
Yesterday, you and I played around a little bit after hours with the Euro US, and
that thing was.
I'm still in it. I'm still in it, and I am net profit. I'm net profiting now. I have 2 positions, and right now I'm just over break even, but I'm coming into a supply area.
Yeah, like we said, Brian's more of a swing trader. I'm more of a position momentum trader. So we do kind of balance each other out, and so you guys are going to get your pick about who you want to follow on some of this stuff. But
no, this particular trade was more of a day trading. Could be a day, could be 2 days. It was not truly a swing trade, but based on the structure of everything, I took some short positions. As I built a long position, and it was moving down on me, I took some short positions. And but you can
see up here is our upper 25% zone. Here's a lower zone, and you can see it right now. It's coming right back up into. Let's see what's
a strong area of supply. Yeah,
I can slide this over here if I can find out the price 19.
But I'm right now break even, so I don't want to get out of it. I think the overall push is still up. I think this looking at the SSI, it is increasing to be long. Since we're in a dull place with trading, anybody trading, I would say anybody who wants to trade over a 4-hour chart and higher, I use it what they call speculative sentiment. All that is we know as traders that 90% of all traders lose money, 5% break even. I don't want to depress anybody. That's why the Connor theory might be a good way to go. But 90% lose, 5% break even, and only 5% consistently make money. Okay. If that's the case in the long term, then if we have, let's say, 65% of the traders going short on this particular Euro US, then I want to go
Brian,
long.
do you want to share your tweet and show them what that
Sure.
SSI
Sure.
looks like? Let me stop sharing so you can show them what you're talking about.
Sure. That'll maybe give them a little bit visual since we're in a lull. Let me get over here.
I stopped sharing, so you should have it.
How about that? Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay. Now, guys, this isn't Arrow. This is our own proprietary tool that does something similar. And so what I'm doing here is I don't normally use the SSI numbers to correlate in a 15-minute chart. It's usually a little bit more stable toward the 4-hour and higher. But if you notice over here, the Euro US is 1.4. And that's telling me that about 55 to 60% of all traders are short this particular pair. Well, if you look on the long term of this particular pair, you'll notice that the overall trend, even though we've had a pullback here, the overall trend has been up. It's not great, but it's been up. We're in a middle place right now, but it just tells you that's why I said the pound US has been going down. But if we take a look at the US Swiss, let's see if I got that real quick. Yeah. If we look at the US Swiss, since that's a red SSI, it's showing a large percentage of the traders are long. And when you see this chart, you're going to go, why? I don't know what that is. It's going to fix itself here in a second. We'll clear that out once it clears out. I'm using a different platform, so that's why it's doing it. Now, remember, I said that probably close to 65 to 70% of our traders are long, and we're looking at a daily chart. The only potential long in this whole move is this area right here. We've had some changes recently, but overall, the move is still, the trend overall pushes down. When we look at our colors, kind of like we taught with Arrow, we squish this up, you can see same type of tool. My tool's a little bit different, but you can tell the overall push. Look at all the red. The pink is what we call fresh, never been back there. Price moved away too fast. That means there's orders outstanding. The dark green is orders that are outstanding. So if I'm looking, dark green's fresh buys. So like this particular zone was identified as strong move out. It left so fast based on the algorithmic calculations of this tool that I use. It moves so fast that there's orders still sitting here that did not get filled. So there's a good potential and odds that when it comes back to this 9,000 area, it's going to pop back up again. We don't know how far it's going to pop, but it will react. When I drop down to the 4-hour, you'll see a couple of things that we use. It's the same thing. Now you got a little different picture. Now you're in a sideways market. Well, look what's happened. You've got plenty of green, plenty of pinks. But I look at the prominence of pink over orange. Orange means it's been there before. It just hasn't cleared the zone out. So you got a little level on level. But the SSI is basically telling me where the crowd's at. And I've learned that when the crowd is 90% lose, 5% break even, that if majority of the people are going to be, let me see if I can share this. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, let me go over here and
you're about 2 minutes there, Brian, before we're done here.
Yep. Let me do this real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So 59% of the traders currently on this particular platform are long. That means anytime I see that, I want to be looking for an opportunity to go short. Right now, there's not much of an opportunity on this one to jump in now. I would be definitely interested at the 9,300 because that's a whole number. That would be my first one. What I do on a swing is come in here and mark that area like that. That's my aggressive entry. My moderate entry, if I don't feel quite so confident, would be that area right there. And that's how I do it. In the 15-minute, you do the same type of thing. Right now, there's nowhere to go with it. But I use this on a bigger term, knowing that crowds are wrong. So is it time to be done already?
I know.
Yes, it is. Yep, it is. It's that time.
Let me stop sharing real quick. Let me get over here and let you have full control of it again, Al.
Okay, and I'll share through back again. And let's see, we'll just do this one here. Anyway, we'd like to thank everybody for coming in today. Hopefully you learned something. Sorry we didn't get a few more winning trades in here, but that's just what happens sometimes. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow, 7:30 to 9. And it looks like, I don't know if Corey's doing the 9 o'clock to 11 today or not, but check out the other, register for the other trade room, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
It was a fast and fun day.
It was
Thanks,
a fast
guys.
and furious day. Thanks, guys. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.
See you later.
Tomorrow. Bye, guys.